Concord is one of the biggest video game failures of all time, and while journos are currently coping and seething over the fact that they were not able to positively affect the player numbers of this game, gamers are pointing and laughing, saying, "Hey Sony, if you would have listened to us in the first place, you wouldn't have lost hundreds of millions of dollars." I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I think it's hilarious that this game failed because from the very start, when we initially saw the teasers and trailers, we said, oh god, this is not going to go over well, because it just seemed like there was nothing that actually captured people's attention. I mean, all of the trailers got ratioed, even the open free betas were disastrous, couldn't even draw in more than 2,500 people. And at that point, we could tell that the paid full release was not going to go over spectacularly for Sony. If they had just listened to us from the start and didn't try to actually make a Overwatch clone, but 8 years later, this probably would have been a little bit more successful for them. But when you are expecting to charge people $40 for an experience and you're just giving them a couple of maps, 8 to 10 maps, and you're giving them 16 characters, or in this case, they're called free gunners, you're not providing them with PvE, you're not providing them with any sort of other unique modes or gameplay, it's really just not going to work out for you. They were stuck in the 2016 Overwatch launch mindset, and I get that this was a game that they wanted to compete with Overwatch, but Overwatch has been free to play for years. Now, you can't charge people $40 for the basically same but significantly worse experience, and that's what they decided to do with this title. And now their pronouns are simply was/were, because this game is being shut down. Now, of course, Sony has made it sound like they may revive it in the future. I would assume they are going to put it free to play, but who knows when, right? Because they need to come up with a brand new monetization system. They need to maybe tweak character designs, add new maps, figure out new free gunners. They need to up the ante if they re-release this, but initial launch was a complete and spectacular failure for them. I did talk about their statement in a previous video, but I'm going to read it quickly. Concord fans, by the way, there really aren't any Concord fans. I mean, it peaked at not even 700 people on Steam, so I don't know who the fans are except for their own developers. We've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC, and want to thank everyone who has joined the journey aboard the North Star. Yeah, I mean, the couple thousand that apparently bought the game. Your support and the passionate community has grown around the game has meant the world to us. Well, clearly you didn't get much support. However, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6th, 2024, and I do have to give them some kind of props because they are refunding people, but at the end of the day, the only reason they're refunding people is because they made such a small amount of money. I mean, we are talking about the biggest company in the video game industry making, according to reports, only $1 million off of this game. So they were like, we don't even care. That's chump change. Just give them their money back, because they don't want another controversy on top of the release and the subsequent failure of this. But now that this game is confirmed to be a fail and it is being taken offline in just a few days, everybody on social media has been talking about it and basically pointing and laughing because Sony didn't listen to us, Firewalk didn't listen to us, and keep in mind, Sony bought this studio not even that long ago. Yes, back in 2021, they entered a publishing partnership, but Sony fully bought Firewalk only last year because they felt extremely confident in this release. And well, It's not going well. I mean, clearly. Everybody on social media is seemingly talking about this, and all of the memes that are surrounding it are hilarious. Like the fact that people are dumping their physical copies of Concord on eBay. They're averaging about like $125 to $150 because it's basically a gaming relic at this point. I mean, this is going to go down in history as the quickest turnaround for a game ever, but there are some people trying to sell it for ridiculous amounts of money, like $25,000. People are saying things like, no one wanted Concord. No one bought Concord. Concord is now dead. Welcome to the consumer-driven industry. We call the shots, not you. And this is so extremely true. Nobody was asking for Concord. And the people they tried to market this game to, aka modern audiences, clearly didn't show up because there's really not many of them. Let's be generous and say there's 2,000 gamers out there who could be considered part of the modern audience, and really they're just sensitive snowflakes on social media. These people don't play games, so you're making games for virtually nobody. And sure, I'm sure there are some people out there who just simply bought it because they wanted to give it a chance. Like, I buy really bad games because I want to give them a chance, like Flintlock and Dustborn, and I did play Concord's free open beta. But, this is happening more and more, that these games have continued to release, and they're doing progressively worse. Look at Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. That was a game for modern audiences, and yeah, it did slightly better than Concord. I mean, the servers are still up. It wasn't completely shut down, but nobody was asking for live service. In this case with Concord, it wasn't poorly monetized because it was just the 40 upfront, which I thought was decent, but they didn't provide us with any really good amount of content or unique content. They didn't try their hardest. I don't know what they were doing in the 8 years of development, but clearly they weren't doing much, and it all doesn't matter in the end. People are memeing saying, was nice to get out of the house and leave the internet behind for a bit, did a bit of shopping and finally bought Concord. Can't wait until Saturday to play it, but looking forward to trying it out. I mean, this is brutal. It's hilarious, but hey, I can't say I'm very shocked that all of this happened. There's also people redesigning the characters which I think look absolutely fantastic. You could have had some cool, unique aesthetic to this game, but instead it looks like these characters are in, inflatable sumo suits. That's just not the look that people want. And yeah, sometimes you can have characters that have really crappy looking armor or not the most like beautiful characters. Not every female has to be a, beautiful feminine bombshell. Not every male character has to be some hunky, masculine, handsome looking guy. But they had no in between. They did not have any characters that looked even slightly good. And yes, you have to have characters with unique identities and aesthetics in order to sell them. If you look at something like Overwatch, I can hear the name Mercy and I instantly imagine her. I know what she looks like. I know her aesthetic. I know how she acts. Same with like Ashe. All of these characters, because they are unique and they're well designed. But with Concord, none of these characters were unique. I guess uniquely terrible, sure, but none of them were unique in a positive way. Now, I don't think that this is going to magically disappear anytime soon, even though the servers are being taken offline, even though Sony has basically tried to put this situation to rest with their statement. I don't think that people are going to stop pointing and laughing anytime soon. And as of right now, none of the Firewalk Studio developers have had epic meltdowns online. And I definitely think that that's going to happen once they've kind of processed the situation that they've now been faced with. So I will be keeping my eye on this development team and the company and just social media in totality. But for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. below. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.